about art history and Stone Age, which was the beginning of the art and it's making our marks. So this slideshow, it will go through the history and related to our nowadays art and what we're going to do for this lesson. So as you can see, the first cave pictures were quite basic, is just to show who you are. And hands is our main object, which we working with it. It's our identity. And at that time, they didn't have cameras and, taking pictures of their face. So this is where they were showing who they are. And they were using a fire chalk, like when you have a fire after you use a chalk and some other natural materials as a stone, which they were grounded and blowing and making these marks on the walls. And this picture was, as you can see, 13,000 to BC. So it is long time ago. And why it was called Stone Age? Well, the Stone Age is the first period of human history because they were using stone to make tools and other objects during that time. And it was 2 million years ago, if we could count how long. And as you can see, they were still very creative to create these tools to be hunting and being protecting themselves from the wild animals. And as you can see, they were showing in their pictures in the caves what animals they were hunting, what were the stories. It was like, it's kind of like a storytelling, what they see, what like they do. And it was fascinating for us to see even now and to know what was happening this many years ago. So art in a way is our like recording a history tool also. So it is like fascinating how it is important to us to have. And another expression of art was sculpture. And these little objects you see here, well, it's really hard to say for what reason they were using, but the most likely it would be for rituals and protection, and and the little figures of animals over here, it's probably for kids to play. Even at that time, kids wanted to have their toys, so it was the expression of making these toys from stone. So it's amazing what was made even without having like a proper tools we having now. So what was the Stone Age like? So let's think about it, and you try to imagine yourself living in the cave, and no electricity, no phones, no internet, and wild animals walking around. It's a bit scary, and I'm impressed how they still had this creativity made them to think of how to survive. And they were drawing and making sculptures to make their life happy and positive, and even in the hard situations. And what materials they were using, we know that it's like natural materials, because they were whatever they found on the ground and wherever they can use with their hands. So now we're gonna look at what is relation to our nowadays. And as you can see, there is a very famous place in London, which is Shortridge, and its street art is one of the ways still exist in our days, where we expressing our political views, our emotions, our situation in our day. So if for for many other generations to come, we're leaving these marks on the walls to again to show what was happening when we were living. So it is still continuous as our art history on the walls. So you can always come to visit and walk through the streets of London and see these marks left behind. So today we are going to do our practice in pencil drawing, and looking at the history, we're going to do our combined creative picture that would include Cubism. And the Cubism period was in 1912 to 1920, where the artists like George Braque and Picasso, they were doing these like collage pictures using mostly just black and white or monochromatic pictures, drawings and paintings. So as you can see, this pictures were using shading, value, and monochromatic look. And Pablo Picasso was very well known at that time. And above you see these like still lifes, which is like just the objects on the table, but expressed in a creative way. And we have 10 drawing very important tips to cover today. And one of the most important is to be observant and observe the look and of the object, and not what you know or remember, because we need to look at the object as often as possible and observe how it's really looking if we want to achieve a very look-like object. Keep an open mind and try new strategies. So if it didn't work how you tried first, try another way of doing this. And through practice and repeating your strategies, you will learn your skills. Side angle and compare relationship. So this is a very important by understanding the measurements of the objects. So always compare with other objects to understand which one is the biggest, which one is the smallest. That way you will achieve very good observational picture. Being light and loose. At the beginning, when we starting drawing, please use your light hand drawing, and using even the light pencils to better to rub it out if we are wanted to have a fix your mistakes or corrections, and that would help you to achieve a good finished project. Become a master at identifying and drawing the 5 basic shapes. It's very important. The basic shapes, which is cube, cylinder, pyramid, and cone, and sphere, if you learn how to draw them, all the other objects around the world, even the human body, is made out of shapes. By knowing how to draw them, it will help you to achieve better results later on. Draw what you cannot see. So draw through the subjects if you could actually see something. So it's like even if you draw the cube, always draw what's inside the cube, just to know how the cube looks like as a 3D object. It will help you to correct to draw this object. Use cross control lines to create the illusion of depth. And this is very important when we are shading. So we need to follow, when you're doing hatching or cross hatching, to follow the shape movement. And by doing this, you will make more realistic picture. Identify a light source. One of the important things is a light source, and we're going to talk about it in this lesson. So, where is the light source? Where is the shadow? And where is shade to reveal? So, we need to, it is very important again to achieve the 3D look. And stay positive, develop your problem solving, and ask yourself practical questions and keep smiling, because by just you know understanding that we all started when we born, we were not talking and walking, and by practicing and keep going, we learn all these things, and now it's natural to us. We are not asking, making even question how we don't know how to talk or do things. So the same with the art. The more you practice, the better it will be. And be positive, you will achieve by practicing. Be patient, and again, as I said it before, and practical, and practice, practice, practice. So that's most important part. So now we're gonna look at our shading techniques and how to achieve this 3D objects drawing on 2D paper. So we have a hatching, cross hatching, and random marks and stipple. So we're gonna work on this on later on, but here is the good example of what it is. And shading is very important with the light source, so you can see where is the light coming and where the shade and shadows appear on the object. So how it looks blending with pencils. So this is the example of, by using these techniques, how we're gonna color shade our objects. So and this is our references where we got for this slideshow, but let's get started.